Hello and welcome to the Philippines. What has happened to City Times Square across from Parkmall in Mandaue City? Let's walk around and I'll show you. David's Tea House, Joni's Sizzler, up top all closed. Dunkin' Donuts, 7-Eleven. E-Bingo upstairs. Cafe Namu Mo. Kind of sitting on very small benches. A lot of places closed over there. Red House, Taiwan, Shabu. This unit is for lease. Looks like a lot of people are closing shop here. Maybe they raised their rent, I don't know. Logang Pier, looks like a bar. Japanese coffee. Japanese little market. Coffee, I guess. Daily Coffee and Brew. Daily Cafe. Chinese noodle house looks like. The Corner Bar and Kitchen. Restaurants in the Philippines tend to crank up their music very loud and play it out into the street. So I've had to reduce the volume there to because it's probably copyrighted anyway. Number of restaurants down here. There's a Times Square 1 and a Times Square 2 right next to Times Square 1, and I'll show you over there as well. There's 2 floors here. Just about everything on the second floor up here is now closed. Almost everything up there. We've got E-Bingo across the way. I think they've got KTV up there, karaoke type place.
All the businesses are closing.
This was a Korean buffet, I think.
This business, no more. Huh? Yeah. That one too, closed. Many closed already, yeah. No business, huh? SMR Chocolates. Chocolates. Red House Shabu.
Shabu is a type of soup, I think, Korean usually. Anyway, there's a place up there, was a bar, said they were going to be a 50s bar, but they often played really loud other music, really loud. So it was too loud for me. Usually went in there for a little while. Anyway, there used to be 2 or 3 bars up there, no more. Pretty much everything is closed. So I don't know why. Does anybody know? Did they raise the rent? Are they planning to, I don't know. There's always the possibility. I'm not saying this is going to happen. Maybe they're planning on redesigning this whole area. I don't know. And you've got a big buffet back here, Popular Buffet. Buffet 101, I think it's called. Got some parking back in there, if there isn't any out front. And looks like they still have some major damage from the typhoon. And I've been at that buffet 3 or 4 times, I think. Pretty good selection, reasonable, less expensive than some buffets. This back area in this alley goes to what's called Times Square 2. It's just a connection onto Times Square 1. They've got a dental clinic, I think, up on the 3rd floor of this Times Square 2. But virtually everything on this side, they had a number of bars and restaurants back in here, and virtually everything is closed up. They've got 3 stories back up in there. They've got an admin office, they've got a medical clinic, or rehab, kind of, I think it's more of a rehabilitation type place. And they had like an ice cream parlor back here, several bars, a couple of restaurants, and virtually everything. There was a convenience store, a couple of convenience stores, travel agency. Looks like almost everything is closed up back here. So there's a number of reasons why businesses close. Number one, they go out of business. Losing money, they go out of business. Number two, the contract is up and they're asked to sign a new contract at a much higher rate. They go find a better location. Another reason would be maybe they're going to turn this into something else, redesign and reconfigure this whole area. So they aren't renewing contracts. I don't know but there were signs that I saw, space for lease, space for lease. So I suspect that either the companies have gone out of business, found a better location, or the people have raised the rent thinking, oh, we're going into the high season, we're going to get just tons of business here, so you're going to have to pay a lot more for your rent. There's a restaurant back in the corner, Rule 65, 69, something like that. Kind of a restaurant dance club, more class ballroom type dancing back in there, I think. There was a hotel just to the left here. It was part of more of a suites type thing that was a part of big hotels, which is just around the corner. But that is for lease. That hotel area is for lease, and this is an area they tried to draw some people in by having a little bit of entertainment back in here. Not sure if they're doing any more of that. They had 2 different things. They had this thing playing real loud, and then they had Christmas playing, and they were kind of overriding each other. So, Parkmall just across the street, an older, smaller mall, but they've got a lot of things in there. They've got, if you need gadgets, if you need clothes, if you need big grocery store, Gaisano grocery store. I think it's Gaisano, not absolutely positive. Might be an SM branch. Hardware store, Handyman hardware store, I think. That building off in the distance, that is called the Big Hotel. I went in there years ago, and they wouldn't let me do a video in there, so I have not did any videos of the Big Hotel. They said our rates are small enough. We get a pretty good occupancy rate, so we don't need any advertising. So there's a Chinese tea house up there on the top level. I think that's that, and karaoke place up top, an e-bingo place. I think those are about the only places open up top. This was a big entertainment area at one point in time, a few years ago, before all the lockdowns. Lots of coffee shops, bars, restaurants, big crowd back in here, but looks like that it no longer exists. Disco club in the back is closed up, so if you need to open a disco club, the space is available. That has undergone a number of ownership and venue changes over the years. I'll put a map up of this area. That is called the Big Hotel over there. There's a place down the road. I'll do a separate video. MO2. I'll do a separate video on that. All right, jumping over to Google Maps, and you got Cebu City over here. Times Square up in this area here, City Times Square. Mactan Island with the International Airport over here. The newer 4-lane bridge, the 2-lane bridge coming across here. Mandaue City. So Times Square. Here's J Center Mall. That's where the main immigration office is. And Times Square isn't very far away. In fact, I've often walked from there down here to this area down here to Parkmall. Parkmall is in this area, just across the street from City Times Square. And you're pretty much on a main road down here, too. Main road, North Reclamation Area, SM City, Cebu City, North Reclamation Area, and then your downtown area is down in this here down. So let me zoom in here a little bit, and give you a little bit better idea. So this Times Square is in this section here, and I think this is 1, this is 2 over here, and Parkmall is over in this area. We've got Mandani Bay, big Mandani Bay development over in this area, and you're not very far from Chunghwa Hospital and University of Cebu Medical Center down here, as well as you've got the Bay Hotel. I think that's the biggest hotel, over 660 rooms, I believe, number of restaurants. Biggest hotel outside of Metro Cebu, or Metro Manila, I believe. And click this button over here, and we get a more realistic view of what's going on here. So you can see you've got Parkmall here, and City Times Square. Here's the parking area where you come in, and here's Times Square 2 over in this area. I don't know if you would call this a franchise. I do believe that there are other areas, other cities that also have Times Square type setup. I suspect it's the same management company that runs them all. Not positive. There's potential here when all these places were open, when the Philippines was open and people were here. There was a pretty good crowd that would congregate at the various bars and restaurants. It will be interesting to see what will happen in the coming months. We're into our high season, so it takes time for people to rent spaces. Many places were listed for lease, and to set up their business, to advertise, to become known to the public. So we'll see what happens in the coming months. Anyway, thanks for coming along. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.